The South Caucasus is rapidly turning into a battleground of intense geopolitical competition. While the Kremlin is bogged down in conflicts, isolation, and a loss of influence, the newly reinstated US President Donald Trump is taking active steps to bring the United States back into the region. One of the clearest and most striking signals of this shift is Armenia's strategic pivot. Increasingly, people are talking about the Trump Bridge, a metaphor for a new geopolitical corridor connecting the South Caucasus to the west while bypassing Moscow. This bridge is being built not only through economics and diplomacy but also through Armenia's decisive break with the post-Soviet system of dependency. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan may not make bold statements, but he acts with remarkable persistence. Armenia has suspended its participation in the CSTO, is effectively dismantling Russia's military and border presence, and is openly expressing its desire to join the EU. These are not short-term mood swings but a clear strategic direction. On July 16, Pashinyan stated that leaving the CSTO would be the least painful option under current circumstances. Disappointment in the alliance is openly acknowledged in Armenia. During the critical moments of the Second Karabakh War in 2020, allied Moscow stood aside. Nearly 5 years have passed, but nothing has changed. Russia remains preoccupied with itself, not with its allies. With Donald Trump back in the White House, American foreign policy has been relaunched in typical Trump fashion: direct, pragmatic, and effective. Armenia is the first major case. The US is no longer a passive observer. Diplomatic activity in Yerevan has surged. Washington is supporting reforms, providing economic aid, and proposing infrastructure projects. This is the essence of the Trump Bridge, a symbol of the new American approach aimed at regaining influence over key points in Eurasia. Armenia is seen as a gateway to a region where Moscow is losing ground and Beijing is still treading carefully. Unlike Moscow, Washington does not make imperial demands. It speaks the language of contracts, investments, and concrete proposals. For Yerevan, this is a chance to reset. Armenian officials emphasize that this is not about a sudden break with Russia. But the country is tired of being treated like a younger brother whose interests are constantly ignored. The withdrawal of Russian border guards from Yerevan airport and from the borders with Azerbaijan and Iran, along with the potential dismantling of the military base in Gyumri, all signal a push to restore genuine sovereignty. Armenia no longer wants to be a buffer zone. It wants to be a player, not a bargaining chip. That's why Pashinyan is betting on the EU and the US even if EU membership isn't feasible in the near future. Aligning with European standards is already a political course in itself. And US support makes this path more secure. The Kremlin's reaction is predictable: accusations of betrayal, claims that the West is buying Armenia, and warnings about destabilizing the region. Russia's foreign ministry and state media criticize Pashinyan, but they can no longer influence his direction. Moscow is no longer seen as a guarantor of security. It has lost its sense of responsibility toward its allies. Since 2022, it has become clear, an alliance with Russia leads nowhere, especially for small states. Georgia left the Kremlin's orbit long ago. Azerbaijan maintains strategic independence, balancing among Turkey, Russia, and China. Now Armenia is making a choice, and it is increasingly pro-Western. Trump, in his own style, avoids grand talk of democracy and values, but he has sent a clear message: the US is back in the game. And Trump plays to win. Supporting Armenia is one of the first vivid signs of this comeback. The South Caucasus is no longer Russia's backyard. It's a region where the battle for future geopolitical influence is in full swing. And while Putin loses control, Trump is acting quickly and decisively. Armenia has chosen a difficult but independent path. And if the Trump Bridge is completed, it could mark the first real break in the chain of Russian post-imperial dependency across the entire post-Soviet space.